Here we go again. This is Walt doing another video. This time he turns his sights on the shooting of Keenan Anderson. And by the way, Walt is turning out a lot of video, which is fine. I encourage that. He obviously sees things differently than we do. But that doesn't necessarily make him right. And we're going to have some issues here with his latest analysis. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
I just saw the body cam of Keenan Anderson, cousin of co-Black Lives Matter founder Patrisse Cullors.
He's a cousin of the founder of BLM. Man, I don't know about you, but I don't think cousins count for much of anything. I think I know one of my cousins, and I've got a bunch of them. I don't think I've seen any of them in probably 30 years, except for the one. So who cares if he's a cousin of the BLM founder? Irrelevant.
Being tased to death by the Los Angeles police. Mr. Anderson was a dedicated teacher, a father of a young child. He had been involved in a car accident.
He had been involved in a car accident. I think you're leaving out some details there. Now, keep in mind, we have information still coming in, but apparently Keenan Anderson was not just involved in a car accident. He caused it because he was coked out. And apparently he tried to pull off a carjacking.
Visiting Cullors in L.A. He was in obvious mental distress. Police arrived.
He was in obvious mental distress. That's code for berserk. Okay? Yes, he was berserk, and you could tell by looking at him and his actions that he was on something. That's not the cop's fault. Whatever the case, he ingested something he wasn't supposed to do. He is at fault for his behavior. His death is on him. I'm sorry. I'm tired of cops being blamed for the idiocies of some of these people.
The first responders, as the police asked him to get against the wall, he came towards the street and said, "I want to be where people can see me. I want to be where people can see me."
Which made no sense whatsoever because he was absolutely coked out of his head.
After other police arrived, he started to flee. All you racist mothers out there, why'd they flee? This is why they flee.
Oh, I see. So let's just send that message one more time out there to all black people who get pulled over that fleeing is a rational thing to do. How did it work out for Keenan Anderson? Not too well. And look, when you see the actual footage, and we'll see it here in a minute, it's pretty clear that if Keenan Anderson hadn't fled, nothing would have happened to him. It's the fleeing that gets cops jacked up and puts other people in harm's way. So why do it? Well, because people keep telling them that fleeing is just a normal thing you have to do. If you get pulled over by those racist cops, you need to get away from them. You know, you're not going to outrun them. They're going to catch you, and they're probably bringing whoop ass with them. So don't do it. You're giving out really bad advice for people.
They being black people. During the struggle with police, he said, "You're trying to George Floyd me to death." One of the officers had his neck on his knee, deployed their taser, and repeatedly tased him.
Well, first of all, they didn't put their knee on his neck, unlike George Floyd. And if you think that the cops are going to George Floyd you, maybe you should cooperate so that they don't.
30 seconds straight. Had a heart attack at the hospital. 2023. This is the third person killed by the Los Angeles Police Department with two.
And by the way, he had a heart attack quite a bit later, like 3 to 4 hours. It wasn't the tasers that killed him, in my opinion. Now, we'll know more later when they do an autopsy, but I highly doubt that it was the tasers. It was probably from a drug overdose.
Others being fatally shot. Cullors and Anderson moved out to Los Angeles to get away from the white supremacy terrorizing in Louisiana. You're black people saying Black Lives Matter and they're just fighting for a cause or something. They are fighting for their own life.
They left Louisiana to go to Los Angeles to escape violence. Hey, okay, I can think of about 1,000 other places I'd rather go than Los Angeles to escape violence. Oh, Lord. And how did it work out for him? Not too well. But you know, he doesn't have one of those mansions that Colors has, so I guess he didn't have quite the protection. So here's a little tidbit for you. A preliminary toxicology blood screen of Anderson's blood samples tested positive for cocaine and marijuana. Adding, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office is expected to conduct their own independent toxicology tests. He was teaching public school 10th grade. With a history of mental illness, coked and potted up, got into a traffic collision because of it, and then tried to carjack somebody. This is your public school teachers. And everybody's all worked up over how the cops handled it. Oh my God. So here's another trick that the media does. They're going to go ahead and show the entire dealio here. This is the Law and Crime Network. But rather than just starting from the start, let's front load it with the juiciest parts designed to instill maximum outrage. Watch.
They're trying to
George Floyd me. They know fully well that most people don't watch the entire video. They only watch the first minute or two.
The cousin of Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors dies after repeatedly being tased by California police officers.
No evidence that the tasing actually caused the death, but that's not going to stop us from just making that connection.
Help! They're trying to kill me! Hey, stop them, I'll take you!
It happened.
You see what I'm saying? They front load it with the really gory parts.
On January 3rd in Los Angeles, officers responded to a crash where they found a man running in the street with, quote, erratic behavior.
Yeah, I see it. Where are you at?
Oh yeah, this is your 10th grade school teacher.
Body camera video shows the man, later identified as 31-year-old Keenan Anderson, running through traffic. When an officer catches up with him, Anderson sits on the side of the road.
Get off to the side here! Get on the street! Hey, stop right there! Get up against the wall! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to! Get up
I didn't mean to. Gee, that doesn't sound very innocent.
against the wall!
Anderson sits on the sidewalk as the officer radios for a possible DUI crash. After that, Anderson tells the officers someone is trying to kill him.
Sit with your legs crossed. Sit with your legs crossed.
They're gonna try to kill me, please.
Who's trying to kill you?
I had a stunt today.
What?
I had a stunt today, sir.
You
I
had-
didn't mean to.
I think he meant blunt.
You had what?
A stunt.
LA officials say Anderson stayed seated for about 7 minutes before he stands up and eventually runs off.
Come here, I don't want you in the road. Come here. Come here.
Well, they edited this one too. I cannot find a full body cam footage of it. They have all edited out all of the stuff where he's shown to be completely babbling to himself for long periods of time. Gee, I wonder why.
Come here.
Please.
Come here.
Cops are tired of this shit. They really are.
That's when the officer orders Anderson onto the ground, demanding he turn onto his stomach.
Get off to the side now. Get down over there.
By the way, we don't need to hear commentary. I'm sorry, I can watch this. I don't need somebody feeding me what they want me to hear, okay?
Turn over on your stomach right now.
He orders him to turn over on his stomach. I'm sure glad she was there to tell us this.
Multiple officers then respond to the scene. When Anderson doesn't turn over, he's warned he will be tased.
Stop it, I'm a taser.
Well, let's just go ahead and edit out some things here too.
I'm gonna tase you. I'm gonna tase you. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. Turn over.
Anderson can be heard saying, "They're trying to kill me" multiple times before referencing the death of George Floyd.
You're trying to George Floyd me.
Oh, he's referencing George Floyd? Man, I'm sure glad she's there to tell me this.
You're trying to George
Stop
Floyd
it.
me.
Stop it. I'm gonna tase you.
If he's worried about being George Floyded, maybe he should comply.
After that, Anderson is tased multiple times. Cell phone video from witnesses show the reaction to the incident.
I think that guy's in a very paranoid state.
I'm an Uber driver and he was trying to steal my car when he hit the other cars right there.
I'm an Uber driver and he was trying to steal my car while he hit the other cars right there. Gee, that sounds like a carjacking. Remember, 10th grade public school teacher, Los Angeles. Pull your kids out of schools, telling you. Homeschool them. It doesn't matter if you're not as good a teacher. They're still gonna be better off.
An LAPD spokesperson says paramedics arrived on the scene about 1 minute after Anderson was tased. 5 minutes after that, he was taken to the hospital. Nearly 5 hours later, Anderson suffered what LAPD call a, quote, medical emergency and died. Reports show he died from cardiac arrest. Taking to Instagram, Anderson's cousin Patricia.
Now, keep in mind, his heart was working fine for 5 hours, and then it gave out on him. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like the tasers caused it. Well, maybe. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just going by, I don't know, common sense. But sometimes when it comes to the body, common sense kind of fails you. So if anybody has any more information about that, I'd like to hear it. But this doesn't pass the smell test.
Patrice Cullors wrote in part, quote, LAPD has killed 3 people this year. One of them is my family member. Los Angeles police say the incident is now under investigation. Reporting for Law and Crime Network, I'm Sierra Gillespie.
Well, thank you so much for your crackerjack reporting that we got there. I would not have been able to figure out any of it without your help. So yet another false outrage from BLM, all trying to paint this picture that the cops murdered this man. And keep in mind, Cullors said it. She said murder. I mean, really? Murder? How do you murder somebody by tasing them to have them die 5 hours later? That's a hell of a strategy. But whatever the case, I will see y'all later. Like my video, subscribe to my channel.